Why, Michael? Why? We've talked about this so many times. CCHD. Why does it insist giving out millions and millions and millions of dollars to organizations that hate us?
So the Campaign for Human Development was created in 1970. 20 to 30 organizations receiving funding from the CHD were promoting abortion and contraception. Their response, well, yeah, the money is going to organizations that are promoting this kind of stuff, but that's not what the money was given for, so it's okay. The reason this has been going on is because the Campaign for Human Development, when it was founded in 1970, was created specifically to give to Marxist organizations under the guise of community organizing. And Saul Alinsky was the major recipient of the first set of grants.
By the way, my name is Joe McClane. I host a radio program called A Catholic Take, where we look at the world through a Catholic lens. I'd love for you to hang out with us. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Praise be to God in all things. There is a brand new report about to drop this morning from the Lepanto Institute. I'm going to link to their website and their video coming up in the show notes this morning to you. But Michael Hitchborn is back on the show to tell us all about it. Michael, good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for having me back on.
Praise be to God. Why, Michael? Why? We've talked about this so many times. CCHD. Why does it insist giving out millions and millions and millions of dollars to organizations that hate us? Why?
It's an interesting question, but it's kind of what's funny about it is that as I was doing research this time around into the CCHD grants, I got curious about its history. So I started looking for news articles. I have a subscription to newspapers.com, which is a huge internet archive of newspapers going back almost 120 years. So I was looking through that, trying to find anything that mentioned the Campaign for Human Development within the first year. So before the first anniversary of the CHD, before it had the word Catholic attached to it, so it was just CHD, Campaign for Human Development. Before it was even a year old, there was a leader of an organization called America's Leading Families, or the Leading Families of America. And he found that 20 to 30 organizations receiving funding from the CHD were promoting abortion and contraception.
Wow.
And yeah, so this is 1971. 71. And he wrote to, so the Campaign for Human Development was created in 1970. By 1971, they were already funding organizations that were pushing
1 year
abortion
into
and contraception. Yeah.
Wow.
What's interesting about the article is that he points out that these organizations were themselves promoting abortion and contraception. And in the response, the CHD openly admitted, well, yeah, these are organizations that don't agree with us on abortion and contraception, but the money went to a project that had nothing to do with that, as if money's not fungible. So they actually admitted in their response, well, yeah, the money is going to organizations that are promoting this kind of stuff, but, that's not what the money was given for, so it's okay. Now, the CCHD tells everybody, oh, we don't give to organizations that promote abortion and birth control. And yet we consistently find that they are.
You're right.
I think, to answer your question, the reason this has been going on is because the Campaign for Human Development, when it was founded in 1970, was created specifically to give to Marxist organizations under the guise of community organizing. And Saul Alinsky was the major recipient of the first set of grants coming out of the CHD. So I think that it was an ideological move that the ones who are giving these funds actually believe that abortion and birth control are fine, actually maybe even a good thing. They don't have a problem with it. And this is the issue we're facing is an ideological one. I think these people don't actually believe what the church believes. Now, does that mean every bishop that's given to the fund is of that mindset? No. What it means is that the CHD coordinators, the ones who are investigating, quote unquote, the groups that are applying for grants, don't care. and they're telling the bishops, "Oh no, it's fine. We looked into it. This is nothing." And so, part of it is bishops turning a blind eye. Part of it is bishops being hoodwinked, and some of it is that they just don't care. So
how much is it just like a lobbying effort? It's who you know, right? So let's say you're one of these organizations that you detail in the report with receipts, by the way. Maybe one of these organizations, they know somebody at the USCCB, and there's somebody's like, all right, I just fill out your application, give it to me. I'll make sure it gets looked at by the right people. How much of it is just lobbying?
Well, I'll give you an example. There's an organization called the Tompkins County Workers Center. That's out in what area is that? I think that's Syracuse, New York. And I've been finding stuff on this organization for a long time. Well, at one point, this was a couple of years ago, I was looking into an update on their information, and I found that in 2020, the Tompkins County Workers Center collaborated with the Democratic Socialists of America on some sort of Labor Day thing that was going on, and they had all kinds of speakers that were speaking through the Democrat Socialists of America's program. And one of the speakers was a woman named Lori Konwinski. And Lori Konwinski is the Justice and Peace Minister for Catholic Charities, which means that she is the one who's vetting the organizations that are receiving CCHD grants. And what I discovered further is that she has an intimate relationship not only with the Democratic Socialists of America, but also with this organization, the Tompkins County Workers Center, which also has a relationship with the Democratic Socialists of America.
Wow.
So when you start looking at the connections, you realize the individuals who are vetting these organizations are part of the problem.
Wow. So what about the bishops who maybe aren't on that team? They're not really on board with all of that. They're not for giving money to organizations that hate us, hate our teaching, hate what we believe, but they don't do anything about it. What explains that? Why aren't they sounding the alarm? Why is it always left to people like you, the Lepanto Institute, to do all the due diligence, to issue the receipts and show the details? This is where they're teaching this and this is where they're doing that. Why aren't the bishops leading that cause?
That's a very good question, and I wish I had an answer. I'll tell you this. When I first started researching CHD, I sat down with probably over a dozen bishops, and I showed them page after page after page after page of evidence. One bishop looked at me and he said, "Michael, this is awful. What should we do?" And my response was, "Your Excellency, you're the bishop. I'm just the one. I'm a researcher. I found this stuff. I'm giving it to you because you're the one who has the authority to do something." And he said, "I don't even know how to get somebody at the USCCB fired."
How about stop giving money to them?
Part of the problem. Right. Well, and to the credit of some of these bishops, they chose to no longer take up the collection.
Praise
but
be
they
to
won't
God.
stand up. They won't speak out. They won't
What if
say, this is.
What if they just all got all the bishops who are opposed to it? And maybe it's a small number. I don't know what the number is, but however many bishops that are opposed to this and this ongoing year after year after year, CCHD giving money away to the bad guys. What if they all got together and did a press conference where they released the receipts of your efforts, all of your research? What if they got together and said, this is what's being found out there? That would send shockwaves through the system, I would argue.
Oh, of course. And they would be ostracized. They would be investigated by the Vatican. They would, there are a host of things that would happen to them because they had the courage to stand up and do the right thing. And I think that many of these bishops, unfortunately, are careerists. I think others are doing a pro-con analysis and saying, if I do this, I might achieve this good, but then if I get removed from my diocese, that would be bad. So I should stay in my diocese and do things quietly as opposed to standing up and getting hammered. I think that the reason we're in this mess is because too many bishops have taken that mindset. if they did stand up and they did push back and they did expose the real problems, they would find that the truth is its own defense. And by putting out the truth, there wouldn't be any leg for the bad guys to stand on. And but they don't. They are too afraid of what might happen as opposed to what is happening.
Something you and I have talked about a number of times in the past is, over the years, the many years that you've been doing this, the research at Lepanto Institute, showing the receipts, issuing reports to bishops all across our country, going and used to go and meet with the USCCB, used to go meet with CCHD. Who was the guy that you would meet with that resigned over financial scandal? What was his name?
Ralph McLeod.
Ralph McLeod.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember interviewing him right after Ralph left, and I thought, this is a victory. Congratulations, Michael. Look what you've done. You finally brought them to their knees. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. They're still doing it.
Well, they're in a little bit of a transitional period, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the campaign just stopped making money. By the time Ralph McLeod left, it had collected a measly $2 million, which is paltry. The campaign typically pulls in between $12 and $18 million every year. So over the last several years, the collection plate has gone down and down and down, which means
praise be to God,
our reports are having a real effect, which is also why the CHD had not released their grants lists for the last 3 years. But when Ralph McLeod was forced to resign in March of last year, it was December of last year, they released the previous 3 years' grants lists, which is what we're going on now, which is what we're reporting on. And they're bad. But I wonder, the last year that CHD did anything, the amount of grants was negligible. It was very small in comparison to what we had seen before. So I wonder if there isn't some kind of change that's taking place. But I'll tell you, we're still finding serious problems on their grants lists.
Yeah, I want to go over that after the break. I want to ask you to bring some of that stuff up. What have they been giving to in 2024, for instance? I think that's very, very interesting. But do we know who's running it right now?
There is a woman who took over as the director. I think her name is Alexandra Carroll. And she, I don't know a whole lot about her. I'd actually like to sit down and meet with her and go over some of the things that I'd gone over with Ralph McLeod. And of course, he would obfuscate and change the narrative as it suited his needs. But I don't know what would come of it. I think it would be an interesting conversation and I would welcome it, but I don't know if she would. So we'll see what happens.
It would be amazing if she would give you a moment to explain and show and demonstrate why this is a problem, why Catholics are very concerned, and why they've stopped giving. Would you like us to give again? Perhaps maybe you just get on board and stop, giving our money to crazy organizations. I just want to say thank you to iCatholicMobile.com, a friend and sponsor of this program. iCatholic Mobile supports only Catholic causes, media, organizations, just like this one here at the Station of the Cross Catholic Media Network. That means when you subscribe to their service, they're a phone company, wireless phone company, 5G, unlimited text, data, all that stuff. They've got it, praise be to God. But it just means a portion of your subscription comes to us to support what we do here at the Station of the Cross Catholic Media Network. So they make it possible to get up at 3-something in the morning, 5 days a week, and bring you the latest information, news and conversation, breaking stories, and more. It's brought to you in part by our friends here at iCatholicMobile.com. You can find more information about them at iCatholicMobile.com. Be sure to tell them the Station of the Cross Catholic Media Network sent you. But there is a great report out breaking this morning over at lepantoin.org. We're going to link to it in the show notes for you. United Workers Associations. This report is what we've been talking about with Michael Hitchborn, who is joining us this morning. Michael, welcome back. The 2024, 2023, was there any information about 2025 in this latest batch of reportage coming out from the CCHD? Who do they give to and who are they?
The Catholic Campaign for Human Development, what we found in in evaluating these grants lists, so going back from 2022 to 2023, that was the fiscal year, to 2024 to 2025, those are the grants lists that were available. And out of 211 organizations that received $18.2 million, 66 of those organizations that received $5.78 million were caught promoting abortion, contraception, LGBT ideologies, Marxism, even occult practices in some cases.
Wow.
And so the thing that we have to, the number to look at is the 211 grants. That's 31% of the CCHD grantees that were engaged in this horrible behavior, which is consistent. We found that to be about 30% of these organizations consistently get caught doing this bad stuff. The organization that we focused on for our first report is called the United Workers Association. It's a longtime grantee of the CCHD, going all the way back to 2004. We found that it's received a total of 16 grants for $760,000. And during that time period, I'll tell you, the first thing that I found about United Workers Association was actually when I first started investigating CHD. I was working for American Life League at the time. And as I was investigating the United Workers, I found that they were signed on to something called Equality Maryland. And Equality Maryland was calling for the protection of same-sex civil marriages. And United Workers was signed on to this page of Equality Maryland saying these organizations support, preventing bans against same-sex marriage. So I gave this information to CCHD. I sat down and I spoke with both Ralph McLeod and John Carr. And I gave them all the information. And I said, I don't know how you can continue to fund an organization. And they were like, oh, we'll get down to this. We'll figure out what's going on. They finally get back to me. And what they tell me is, well, it was just a mistake. A low-level employee accidentally signed them up for this webpage, and it wasn't something that was intentional. Then they apologized to us for doing this, etc. And I thought, you know what? That's fishy. It's such a convenient excuse. How do you actually defend this? And how do I find evidence to counter it? So I started digging even deeper. And what I found were board meeting minutes from 2006 talking about how in 2007, United Workers Association wants to work and partner up with Equality Maryland. And I sent that information directly to McLeod and to John Carr. And I see the look on your face. And they never went back to it. They would never discuss it ever again.
Of course not. Yeah. Wow, how disingenuous is that, right? Like, golly gee whiz. You obviously want to be on this team if you're just going to ignore the plain evidence, the facts, the clear evidence that would suggest that this is an organization we have no business partnering with. And yet they do. So it's like, how else should we interpret that? We're sort of required to be as charitable as possible, but we can't sacrifice truth in the name of charity. That's a false charity, isn't it?
Totally. Absolutely. The moment you said, what was it that our Lord said? He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Yeah. So the minute you introduce the lie, you automatically follow with murder in some way, shape, or form. You're murdering the truth for sure. But, that murder can come in the form of murdering somebody's soul, can come in the form of actually harming the body. But to start with the lie, you are automatically introducing murder into the equation. So when we look at United Workers Association, and I said this in the video report, they should have stopped receiving funding long ago. But in 2012, they created two proxy organizations that they operate through. They have given money to these organizations. They are projects of the United Workers Association. The first one I'll tell you about is called Put People First PA. And the thing about this organization, I only discovered the connection because I was looking at United Workers Association's Tax Form 990. And what I found, it said on the form that it had given $443,000 to put people first. And it says put people first is engaging in grassroots organizing. They do this through their healthcare is a human right campaign to demand universal healthcare quality for all. And I thought, okay, that's odd. What is put people first? What is PPFPA? So I did a little bit more digging, and I found Put People First PA's Facebook page. And what I found right away in looking at their Facebook page, on the About section, it says, United Workers is responsible for this page. So it's a direct connection, not just that they're financing this organization, but they are actually, they're operating through it as a proxy. So we went through their social media page, and it was very clear. Put People First PA is extremely pro-abortion. They are extremely pro-trans, calling for they're calling for operations that would change the appearance of an individual's reproductive life. But here, just an example, we've got a tweet put out, or a Facebook page put out by them on June of 2017. We're out supporting Planned Parenthood. Reproductive justice is a right. And then they have a speaker from their organization speaking out to defend Planned Parenthood. And they put up articles trying to explain that it's okay to be a Christian and provide abortions. They celebrated the passage of the legalization of abortion in Argentina. So this organization is extremely vile. It receives money from United Workers Association. And according to their own social media, United Workers Association is coordinating their social media page. So it's pretty clear that it's a puppet organization. It's a proxy of United Workers Association, which means United Workers Association is extremely pro-abortion. And there's so much more information on there, but it's all the same.
What's the budget looking like for the CCHD? A minute ago, you said they went all the way down to $2 million, which was a very low number. But are they still at that level?
Well, that's a question. I don't have the new grants list, which would be 25 to 26, but 24 to 25 was pretty low. That was around $2 million. And yeah, very.
When is the next collection for the CCHD?
Comes up actually this month. I believe it is the third Sunday in November. So that's
get ready to keep your dollars in your pocket and not in the CCHD basket, because until they decide to get their act together, I think our money is best spent elsewhere. Give it to your parish priest. I don't know. Give it to somebody who's going to do something good with it. Praise be to God. Hey,
did you like that video? It's okay. You can admit it. It's perfectly fine. Hey, we cover the big stories of our day, from inside the church to outside the church to all points in between, and we do it from a Catholic perspective. It's called A Catholic Take. It's a radio program Monday through Friday. We live stream it right here on this channel, by the way, so make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We would be very grateful to you. And don't forget, you're going to want to watch this video right here because you don't want to miss anything.